You know what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. What we do every single day, we are going to be diving into some Dynasty teams here, making some trades, trying to optimize for our league format. But before we get into the actual teams, I do need to give a big time announcement. Y'all know we've been talking a lot about the merch dropping for everybody a part of the flock, and it happened, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what you have to do. It's obviously free for you. We've been saying if you're a member of Underdog Fantasy and flockfantasy.com, you are getting access to this merch. Just let me show you how to do this real quick because I know we had a couple questions. First, you go to the setup section of our Flock Fantasy Discord. Then you go to announcements. And here I sent the Google form where you can go through and fill this out. We have 300 shirts to give away, so we should have more than enough to go. We're going to click on this Google form. Then it is going to take us here. And you are going to go through and essentially give your email address. Here is the highest end model we have showing off how beautiful this shirt is. And then you're going to say, yes, I'm a member of flockfantasy.com. If you're not, fix your life. Find the link in the description. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up and get 30% off any subscription. Plus, with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get your Dynasty team featured on one of these live streams, which we'll get to in just 1 second. You'll give me the email address of your Flock Fantasy account. Then you'll confirm, yes, I used promo code FLOCK on Underdog. Underdog sponsored us to get us all these shirts. I set this up with them months and months and months ago, like literally 7 months in the making here. We have 300 shirts to give away. It says Underdog on the sleeve. So you'll say, yes, I used code FLOCK on Underdog. If you didn't, I'm sorry. You still can. You can still go get into some drafts and that 100% deposit bonus. But nonetheless, yes or no. If it's a no, you're not getting a shirt. Then you give me the email address you sign up for Underdog with so I can confirm. Let me know what size t-shirt you are, and then let me know your address. So hopefully, that's a clear enough explanation on how you, just like this devilishly handsome guy here, can be looking 10 out of 10 and attract every single lady from wherever you're from. But I think that should be it. Let's go ahead and let's dive into some teams here. Now, our first one that we are going to be looking at is going to be coming out from Tim/Timmy. My man, thank you so much for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. I'm going to be super happy to look into this, saying, hey, Mason, I'm a huge fan and have been following for a while. It's been very cool to see your channel grow over the last couple of years. Thank you so much. I'm in a couple of leagues, but this league is definitely my favorite. It's made up of my high school friend group. We're 26 now. That is really cool, my friend. I wish I had some friends in high school that got into Dynasty Fantasy Football and would still be playing with me. Sadly, none of my friends in high school were cool enough to play Dynasty Fantasy Football or fantasy football for any kind. I was only allowed to play with people over the internet, and is a 10-team half PPR full tight end premium format. The league is a very active one. However, at the start, I was the only guy with any Dynasty experience, so I feel like our team's pretty stacked. People are much more savvy now going into year 3 of this league after finishing 9th last year. Spent the last few years doing the productive rebuild and just not really sure what the best move from here is to optimize points scored in the lineup and improving going forward. Do I try to use future first to improve quarterback, go all out and get a haul for Bijan Robinson, get depth, or just wait on picks? Would you ever consider trading away any of our starting wide receivers for a haul? Manage to acquire 4 of your top cornerstone assets? Hell yes. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Looking forward to checking this team out, my man. So let's pull this up. Let's get away from that. Let's go to the actual roster here. So first off, you're going to see the wide receivers with this team are ridiculous. But let's go position by position. Mark a word saying it in the live chat better than I can. I have no idea how this is possible. Maybe we made a ton of moves this offseason, right? But stacked but finished ninth. How the hell did this team finish ninth? I'm assuming what happened is you were very active making trades earlier because, I would assume if you have Jefferson, Lamb, Jamar Chase, and Christian McCaffrey, that's enough on its own to earn you the 112. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. And at quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson. Maybe makes sense why our team wasn't great with Lamar last year, with Lamar getting injured. Then down there at the super flex spot, we have Deshaun Watson. So I know you were saying, do we take some of our future first and do we trade for an elite level quarterback? You already have 2 elite level QBs, my man. You already have 2 quarterback ones. So in reality, I'm just fine as is. Now, of course, I mean, we have Anthony Richardson as well. I mean, once I saw Sam Darnold, Kyle Trask, I thought we didn't have a quarterback 3. I was going to say, oh, it'd be nice to get a quarterback 3. But also having Anthony Richardson here, you are in a perfect situation. There is nothing to worry about. I mean, at the end of the day, teams would kill to have the same quarterback situation that you do. Now, going over to what we have at running back, we're currently sitting with Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, with CMC, going to be a win now asset. I mean, with those quarterbacks, you can kind of plan to win now. You can plan for the long term, really just whatever you're wanting there. With Christian McCaffrey, this is a win now piece. I mean, we're going in for 2023. We have Jahmyr Gibbs, who should give you production both in the short and long term. And then going down to the bench, I mean, we have Javonte Williams, we have Elijah Mitchell, we have Breece Hall as well. Okay, so we even have the number 2 overall running back in Dynasty here. Obviously, it's a little painful with Javonte and Breece Hall both tearing ACLs last year. Maybe that's why we had a late pick. I still don't understand how this team has a late pick, though. Just given the fact, if we pull this up, I mean, we're looking at Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver. So if you're looking at these 3 wide receivers, I mean, keep in mind, CeeDee Lamb is 24 years old, and the man just posted almost a 1,400-yard season. We have 3 solidified elite wide receivers for this season that still have a lot of long-term upside as well. You have 3 wide receivers that should be top 5 to 6 options this season that are 24 years old or younger. Not to mention, we have Garrett Wilson, who right now in underdog drafts is literally going at the 1-2 turn going into year 2. So we potentially have 4 of the top 6 wide receivers in Dynasty. We definitely have the top 3 wide receivers in Dynasty. We possibly have the top 4 wide receivers in Dynasty here. Going down to the bench, I mean, we currently don't have too much beyond this. It doesn't really matter if you look at the other running backs that we have. We have more than enough skill positional depth to go around. Now, going over to tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. So we have the number 1 tight end in Dynasty as well. Even if he was horrendous this past season, it was more so the situation rather than the actual play. We have David Njoku as a solid number 2 option. So what I want to do is I want to look at these picks, right? This is where it just gets unfair, and this is where it just gets ridiculous, in that we have 4 2025 first-round picks. So going back to the moves that you were kind of spitballing earlier, right, where you were saying, okay, well, do we move a couple first-rounders and do we go get an elite-level quarterback? In the vast majority of instances, I don't think so. With the majority of teams, I'd say, you know what, man, probably just better off holding those future first. I mean, they're going to accrue in value. They're going to give us flexibility during the season. However, if you find yourself with the ability to go through and take one of those first and package it together with Deshaun Watson and go out there and get Patrick Mahomes, or package it together with Lamar Jackson and go get Josh Allen, or package it together and go get Jalen Hurts, go get, Joe Burrow. If you could get one of those top 4 quarterbacks, because we have the truly embarrassment of riches here, I think it is a move that we could be looking to make. But while this team is dominant, and that's really the only trade that is worth exploring, right? I mean, everything else is set up in a way that this team wins this next season, regardless of if we make a move or not. Those future first are going to continue to rise in value. So it's not like we're worried, oh my gosh, man, you got to keep the picks, because by the time we get to 2025, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, these guys won't be productive anymore. No, everybody on this team, probably outside of Christian McCaffrey, will still be an elite asset, will still be producing at the very top level. With those picks, it's not like the flexibility is going anywhere, right? It's not like we have to go through and say that, all of a sudden they're eventually going to turn into a pumpkin and we won't be able to get anything for them. This team is more than good enough to win this season, and at the same time to allow those future picks to just continue to accrue in value and bring them on this team 2 years from now, or possibly in the 2025 offseason, when I'm assuming that there are probably some garbage teams in your league, right? And I know this is probably an ass thing for me to say, but I mean, if we're looking at how dominant your roster is, and we're looking at the fact that you have 4 2025 first rounders, none of which are your own, I don't get to see AWOC's team here. I don't get to see AG3 Huna's team here. I don't get to see Noah's team. I don't get to see Jake's team. But I'd imagine 1 or 2 of these teams is probably trash. And the reason I'd imagine that is because when you have Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Anthony Richardson, Deshaun Watson, Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, and Lamar Jackson all in the same roster, I just can't see a world where all those teams also have a lot of talent. I mean, there are only so many elite assets in fantasy football. So with those picks, I think you have a pretty good shot at them being early. I'd probably sit on my hands here, my friend. I mean, it's like we are, say, the richest guy on the island, right? I mean, or you're the richest guy in America, whatever it may be. And you're sitting here going, you know what, man? I have an embarrassment amount of wealth. Should I go through and should I go and just buy a bunch of Lamborghinis just for the hell of it? I don't need them. I already got a Bugatti in the driveway. But I mean, look at how much money I have in my savings account. I have these 4 2025 first. They're burning a hole in my pocket. In reality, keep that money in the bank, my friend. I mean, I think you are going to be the favorite for this league year in and year out, year in and year out. And 2 years down the road, when these 2025 first-round picks begin to turn into something and they continue to accrue value, regardless if you trade them for something then, or, I mean, hell, maybe make those rookie picks. If you end up getting the 101, 102, I mean, you're just going to find yourself in a phenomenal situation. I'm sorry. I know we have really very little to say here on how we help this team, but this is probably a better Dynasty team than I personally have ever put together. So I personally don't know what I can say. I mean, if you have anybody in the chat here that can tell us what kind of move to make with this team, please go forward and help us out. I can't do anything, my friend. I'm sorry. I know that was a horrible breakdown, but it's too good of a team. But anyway, thank you so much for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. And again, my friend, make sure you go over and fill out that Google form that we sent out on Discord so I can get you a free Flock Fantasy shirt. Essentially, you just need to get me your Flock Fantasy email address so I can confirm. Obviously, I know that you are a member of the flock, though. Also, the email address you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. It doesn't matter if you signed up for that today, 2 years ago, whenever. And then let me know what size t-shirt you want and let me know where to ship it to. But thank you again so much, my friend. But let's go over to our next team here. This one exciting because I see we have Tommy Nose out here in the chat, not only a member of the flock on flockfantasy.com, but a YouTube member as well. Happy to see you out here, my man. Let's go through and let's check out his team. Says, man, this is exciting. First of all, I want to congratulate you on all the accomplishments. Very cool to be a part of the flock and watch you grow into this business. So this is year 3 of a 1 quarterback full PPR league. I finished 3rd back-to-back. Felt so great about this team last year, but now I'm starting to wonder what to do. Should I be trying to trade guys like Diggs and Christian McCaffrey or try to get one last push with them? Also, I don't really know what to do with the rookie picks. The obvious answer is JSN and another wide receiver, but a part of me was thinking I want to block others from Anthony Richardson and the kind of want to add Dalton Kincaid to solidify the tight end position. With the idea that I'll be trying to trade guys like CMC next offseason to replenish running back / wide receiver, my rookie picks this year are pick 3, pick 5, and the 310. Okay, so first off, let's go easy baseline thing. 310, yeah, garbage. We're not going to expect anybody there, my friend. But we can go ahead and we can look at what we have in the starting lineup. First, I do want to look at the amount of starting lineup requirements that we have. It is a shallower league in general. We're going to be starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 1 flex spot. So in general, it's not like we're sitting here and saying, okay, yeah, we need to build around a ton of wide receiver depth. No, I mean, at the end of the day, you can only start 8 guys. I mean, while, yeah, this is going to be, I believe, Oh, no, you don't even say this is a 12-team league. I mean, hopefully this is a 12-team league and not a 10-team league. If it's a 10-team format, then we should adjust and only go for studs. If it's a 12-team format, we can stay a little bit balanced. But whenever we're looking at making a move, like selling some veteran talent, right? If we're going to go through and say, you know what, man, I mean, we have a couple assets on our team that are getting older. Let's start to sell these pieces off. In general, I think that we need to go ahead. I think that we need to pick a lane, right? And I'm completely fine putting ourselves in a position where we can have the flexibility at the start of the year to jump into either lane and go as fast as we can in one direction. Like, we want to put ourselves in the position where in week 3, we realize this team's a contender. We are winning this league this year. Or in week 3, we realize, crap, this team may not have it. Let's go ahead and let's then sell off those pieces. And then let's go get the 101 for this next rookie draft. Now, if we were to try to go through and say, put ourselves in a position to get the 101 next year, to possibly rebuild, right? What would we have to do? We would have to start selling all these guys that are no longer ascending in dynasty values. The players that are no longer ascending in dynasty value on this list, it doesn't really matter how they produce based off their age, based off when they were drafted. They're pretty much going to be capped out, and they're on a dynasty roster, and they are valuable for the production they provide. Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, like say Taylor goes out there and he's the running back 2 this next season from a points per game perspective. It's not like he's any more valuable next offseason, right? So I'd consider Taylor most likely a win now asset. Stephon Diggs, definitely a win now asset. DJ Moore going into year 6, probably a win now asset. J.K. Dobbins, probably a win now asset. He's actually, I mean, coming to the end of his rookie deal, as crazy as that sounds. Then if we're going down to the bench, DeAndre Swift, also last year of his rookie deal, win now asset. Jamal Williams, win now asset. Elijah Mitchell, win now asset. Michael Pittman, win now asset. If we're going down a little bit further, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, these are guys that can continue to ascend in dynasty value. But overall, you'll look at a team that is filled almost top to bottom at every position with assets that should be productive this next season, that if we were to decide to try to go through and instead play for the future rather than trying to win this year, you would have to go through and you'd have to sell so many different players that it's not going to be an easy pivot. And for that reason, I think, honestly, we keep these veterans unless you get like an offer you can't really pass up on. Of course, if someone wants to go through and offer you Bijan Robinson and all you have to do is trade them away, Christian McCaffrey and Treylon Burks, we'll go take Bijan Robinson there. But it's going to be much, much more difficult than that. But nonetheless, let's go position by position. We have Joe Burrow at quarterback. I mean, with quarterback, doesn't really matter too much. It is a 1 QB format. I know you were saying you wanted to grab Anthony Richardson. We had pick 3. We had pick 5. You just can't do it, my friend. Maybe if you were sitting here with pick 6 and I go, okay, well, yeah, no, 1 quarterback format, sure, take Anthony Richardson over, say, Flowers. We can't take Anthony Richardson in a 1 QB league over someone like Jordan Addison or Quentin Johnston. But going over to running back, we have CMC, Jonathan Taylor in the starting lineup. We have J.K. Dobbins in a flex. We have DeAndre Swift, Elijah Mitchell. So a lot of depth at running back. My friend, I don't know if you had the ability to read the DeAndre Swift article that we had earlier on this, I want to say 2 weeks ago on the site. Essentially, we laid out the reasons why we should be looking to go forward and sell DeAndre Swift. Really not a good situation in Philadelphia from a fantasy points perspective, where obviously Swift commands the majority of his points based off his receiving down skill set. Now, if I were to make a move, I think that this is going to be the main thing that we look to do right now. If you want to put yourself in a position where maybe we do have a little more flexibility at the beginning of the year, right? Where if something goes wrong, we can say, okay, yeah, we only have a few guys that we are going to be looking to sell, and we can pivot to a more 2024 and 2025 approach. What I would really like to do is possibly package together one of these depth running backs, whether that's DeAndre Swift, drafted in 2020, last year of his rookie deal, or J.K. Dobbins, drafted in 2020, last year of his rookie deal. Personally, I would be looking to sell DeAndre Swift. I think Dobbins is more productive this next season, but I would be looking to package him together with a wide receiver. So at wide receiver currently, we have Stephon Diggs, we have Christian Watson, we have DJ Moore going down to the bench. I mean, we have a lot of depth as well. We have Michael Pittman, we have Treylon Burks, we have George Pickens. We're about to draft Jackson Smith-Njigba. We're about to draft Jordan Addison. So if we just look at the players that are on our bench right now, on our bench, we have Jackson Smith-Njigba, Quentin Johnston, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Michael Pittman, and DeAndre Swift. Throw them on there. We have about 5 to 6 players that could be startable for us that are going to be on our bench. The amount of depth that we have with this league is a little insane. So what I would prefer doing is I would begin trying to make 2-for-1 deals, right? I think that this team has, I don't want to say an embarrassment of riches, but this team just has so many pieces on it that someone like DJ Moore, in my mind, really is never going to make a difference, right? Because if you look at the points per game for DJ Moore versus all these other guys, Michael Pittman, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Quentin Johnson, all those guys that are going to be on the bench, how much better is DJ Moore than those players this next season? I would make an argument, probably not much. Maybe half a point per game, maybe a full point per game, but in reality, not going to be moving the needle a whole lot. Now, of course, Stephon Diggs, different story. Stephon Diggs will be making a difference with this team. So what I would love to do is I would love to go through, take DJ Moore, package him together with DeAndre Swift, and go get a better running back in return. Like, let me go ahead and pull up my running back rankings on flockfantasy.com. Obviously, if we could go through and say trade DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore and get the 102 and be able to go through and grab Jahmyr Gibbs, we would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know how likely that is, but just in general, we're going to be looking at running backs of that ilk, right? Like if we could go through and grab Travis Etienne, in my mind, that'd be a much better player. Running back that is going into year 3 of his rookie deal, a running back that has a much higher ceiling than DeAndre Swift this next season. So you're getting both the long-term value, but not only the long-term value, but at the same time, you're in a position where you can get more points in the starting lineup this season. So that's the approach that I'm going to be looking to make. The guys that I'm going to target would be Travis Etienne. I would target the 102, aka Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe you go through and maybe you lower the bar and you go after Kenneth Walker, Najee Harris if you can't get those top 2 guys. But in general, those are going to be the primary moves that I'm looking to make with this team because we can even do that twice. Like, let's not even stop by trading DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift and getting a younger, better running back in return. Why would we stop there when we still have on the bench Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Quentin Johnston? I think we could also look to go through and take Michael Pittman and package him together with J.K. Dobbins and go get an improvement at running back that way. That will also both help our short-term outlook, and if we can get younger at the position, will help us in the long term as well. So when we have this much wide receiver depth, it's great if you have, say, 3 starting wide receiver slots and then 3 to 4 flexes. If you can start 6 to 7 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis, this is exactly how I want to build my team. But if at the very most we can only start 4 wide receivers, I think we are going to be highly incentivized to go through and instead of just trading the elite older assets in Diggs, Christian McCaffrey, I'd rather pair together the veterans that are more so depth pieces and try to get upgrades in the starting lineup that way. But yeah, thank you so much again, my friend, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. Really do appreciate you. And I know you're probably going to see this over and over and over again. I know we're probably going to see you in the underdog draft later today, but just make sure, my man, that you go over to the announcements tab on Discord and you let me know what you want here. Go over. I know we've showed this a million times. I just want to make sure everybody gets their free shirt. We have like 300 to give away. Give me your email. Give me your Flock Fantasy email address. Give me the Underdog Fantasy email address. You signed up with promo code FLOCK. Your t-shirt size, and then your address. But we'll be super happy to get that going in your direction. Thank you so much again, my friend, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. But I think our next team we're going to be going through and looking at will be coming out from Ryan, who says, Aloha Mason, been watching your channel for about a year, maybe more, and decided to officially join the flock. Thank you so much, my man. 10-team PPR Superflex, finished the regular season in second place last year, but then bounced in the playoffs. This will be the 4th year of the league, and it feels like I'm at a crossroads. Should I just roll with who I have and sell at the deadline if things aren't working out? Or should I be proactive and try to secure a championship before aging pieces like Adams, Diggs, and Dalvin Cook evaporate? Dalvin Cook may already be evaporating. A trade that I've been considering and having small talk about would be trading away Patrick Mahomes for Bijan, Tua, and a future first that would probably be mid to late. That trade would put me in a boom or bust situation by having Bijan, Pitts, London all on my team. I know Mahomes should be borderline untouchable, but with this giant boost at running back, offset the big step down at quarterback. Appreciate your thoughts and look forward to hearing back. Thanks. So thank you so much, my man. And first thing that we need to address is trading away Patrick Mahomes. Because if we're looking at Patrick Mahomes, I have made the mistake in the past. I'll be the first person to admit I've sold Patrick Mahomes in Dynasty. And what I have found from talking to so many people and looking at so many Dynasty trades over the past 4 or so seasons, that anytime anybody has ever sold Patrick Mahomes, it may look like it's a haul at the time, right? Like you're getting the number 1 running back in Dynasty. You're getting another solid quarterback option in Tua. You're getting a future first on top of it. Like, oh my gosh, that's exciting. But if we look at the range of outcomes you have from Patrick Mahomes over the next decade, he gives you so much flexibility throughout your entire roster that you can make a deal that maybe looks decent today, where 2 years from now, you look back and you're kicking yourself. I like what Loco's saying here. It says, never trade till Andy Reid retires. The only way I'm trading Patrick Mahomes is if it is a no-brainer, like you just can't pass this up. Like if someone were to offer you, say, Joe Burrow and Bijan Robinson, then yeah, we're sitting there going, this is no-brainer. I can't pass this up. But if it's instead Bijan, Tua, and a future late first, I just wouldn't be able to do that, my friend. I couldn't tell someone to do that because I know 12 months from now, you're going to be coming and saying, Mason, why the hell did you have me trade away Patrick Mahomes? But anyway, let's dive into this team. At quarterback, we currently are sitting with Mahomes as well as Cousins. Down there on the bench, we have Jordan Love. So, I mean, we're perfectly fine at quarterback, right? I mean, this is the flexibility that Patrick Mahomes gives you. Love having Mahomes QB1. And from a points per game perspective, our quarterback room, regardless of if it's Cousins or Love, we're starting at QB2, should project to score more than anybody else in the league. Like, we're in a great spot there. Now, running back, as you were mentioning, not great. We have some decent RB2 options. We just don't have any elite pieces, right? I mean, we have Dalvin, we have Dobbins, we have Dameon Pierce, and then going down to the bench, we have A.J. Dillon as another quality depth piece. So, yeah, I mean, overall, at running back, we have more than enough depth to go around. It's just like we don't have CMC. We don't have Saquon Barkley. We don't have Austin Eckler. We don't have Bijan Robinson. In reality, I think we're fine at running back. Now, the issue is, if you're looking at all these guys, none of them are good enough where we can confidently project them out for 2024, right? We're going to be looking at all these players as essentially win-now assets, even a young asset like Dameon Pierce, right? And y'all know we were saying to buy low on Dameon Pierce right before the NFL draft based on what we were seeing in the tea leaves. But Dameon Pierce isn't really secure in 2024. He's definitely the guy in 2023. That's for damn sure. But in 2024, you don't even really know. So if you were to pivot to a long-term approach, every single one of these running backs would be a sell candidate immediately. Going over to wide receiver, we have Adams, Diggs, DJ Moore, Drake London. So London's really the only long-term piece that we have here as well. I mean, going down to the bench, we even have another win-now asset in Tyler Lockett. We have Kadarius Toney, who's obviously a big question mark. We have Romeo Doubs. So wide receiver, I mean, it's a little bit different than running back. We're in a good spot for 2023 with the top-end production that we have. It's just more so a question of the long-term value. I am personally in favor of selling DJ Moore. I know we've talked about this a lot. Just the issue is, if you look at the overall passing volume in Chicago, even if you project out the Chicago Bears to be the most improved passing offense in the entire NFL, and they improve their yards per game by 30%, and then you project out DJ Moore to be the most dominant wide receiver in the NFL from a per offense context, and you give him 30% of the production in the passing offense in Chicago, the man's still a high-end wide receiver 3 in that instance. He's been a wide receiver 3 for 3 years in a row now. I mean, I've fallen into it in years past, buying into DJ Moore because the name appeal In reality, I am personally looking to pivot off of DJ Moore. What I would really like to do is I'd really like to trade DJ Moore and try to get back someone like Christian Watson, especially if we have Jordan Love here. Obviously, it's not going to be a deal that we're able to make straight up, but if we could go through and say sell DJ Moore and Baker Mayfield, for instance, if a team that has a player in the tier of Christian Watson really needs another quarterback, they need a QB3, and we're able to bring in a player like Watson, pair him up with Jordan Love, I think that could be a solid move. I would also be willing to trade DJ Moore for any pick inside the top 8 rookie picks. Here's how I'd break down DJ Moore in terms of a buy, sell, or hold. If you could get a top 8 rookie pick in a super flex league, you sell DJ Moore. In that top 8, you're going to be getting one of Bijan, Stroud, Young, Richardson, Gibbs, JSN, Addison, Johnston. I would take any of those rookies over DJ Moore in Dynasty, regardless of our team direction. 9 with Zay Flowers is a little bit tougher. Personally, I think that it really is going to depend on if you're a rebuilder or if you're a contender. With this team being a contender, I'd probably say we would prefer having DJ Moore over Zay Flowers. Whereas if you were playing for 2024, give me Zay. 110 and beyond, I'd rather have DJ Moore. If you're looking at like DJ Moore versus Zach Charbonnet, I mean, if you're looking at DJ Moore versus Dalton Kincaid, DJ Moore versus Kendre Miller, like you're definitely going to go more there. So, I mean, that would be one player that I'm putting on the trade block just because I personally don't believe in the situation. And also, if you look at the production over the past 3 years, I just think you're going to get more for his name appeal than his actual production is going to give you. And then if you're looking at tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. I really do like having Kyle Pitts in Dynasty, like the best rookie tight end prospect of all time. I mean, the best rookie tight end since Mike Ditka. And on top of this, I really do like pairing him up with Drake London as well, because we are just making that one consolidated bet that the Atlanta Falcons passing offense comes out here and is a little bit better than people assume. Now, going over to the bench, we have the year 2 tight end in Tennessee. We're just fine at tight end. We do have our 2024 first as well. So, I mean, that does give us the flexibility if we wanted to maybe go through and make some moves. So I know you were saying about trading our 2024 first to push in and win now. I'm fine if you want to do that with this team, given the veterans that we have. But there's a massive asterisk on that. That 2024 first round pick is not going to lose value. That value is going nowhere. So in my mind, what you are much better off doing is waiting until we're actually in the season to sell the pick. And I know it's a common thought in dynasty leagues, oh, well, rookie picks are going to be the most expensive in the offseason. They're going to be the cheapest during the year. I don't want to sell my rookie pick during the season. I want to sell it now when I can get the most value. In reality, I think that is a very bad way to look at it. And I'm sure you've noticed this in a lot of your dynasty leagues as well. And what happens is you'll get to week 4, you'll get to week 5, you'll get to week 6. And there are a couple owners in your league that are 2-4, that are 1-5. And they're going, crap, I thought I was contending this year. I had a serious injury. Now I have no shot to win this season. I have to go through and I have to sell Saquon Barkley for just pieces on the dollar, right? I mean, I have to go through and I have to just get Christian McCaffrey off my roster right now. Then you can go through, you can cherry pick veteran assets from those teams halfway through the season. And what is great about doing it then is we have a much better understanding of what our team actually needs. When we have that 2024 first, we'll have a much better understanding, okay, do we need to be trading for a running back here? Do we need to be trading for a wide receiver? Do we need to be trading for a quarterback? Did Kirk Cousins go down with injury? We don't know what's going to happen during the season. So we'll get that additional data point, and we'll also get the additional data point of, is that player I'm trading for actually healthy? Because you don't want to go through and trade that 2024 first and then bring in Joe Mixon, and then Joe Mixon has a high ankle sprain week 1, right? We want to see that that player is healthy. We want to see that that player is producing. And we also want to get confirmation that we are contending. Because while this team looks strong on paper, we know there's so much randomness in fantasy football where it can happen. Patrick Mahomes could go out there and tear an ACL in training camp. Of course, it's unlikely. Of course, we're not rooting for it, but it's a possibility. And if that happens, and then you see a high ankle sprain for Devontae Adams, and then all of a sudden this team goes, crap, I thought I was going to contend to, I need to tear this down and I need to rebuild for 2024, and we sold our 2024 first already, then you're kind of screwed. So keep the first, get these additional data points. 1, are we truly contending? Once we figure that out, we can go ahead and we can sell it. And when we sell it, we are going to be able to know exactly what we need. We're going to be able to know exactly what players are producing and exactly what players are healthy. So in my mind, that's why it's best to be looking to sell those 2024 first during the season, my friend. But I hope that was able to help out. Again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. And as always, if there's anything that I can do for you, my friend, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. I'll be super happy to help you out in any way that I can. But let's go over to our next team. This is for a long-time member of the flock here in Jay Breezy, baby. My man, thank you so much for everything over the years. Appreciate the content, boys. This team is headed into year 3 and looking to enter, hopefully, a multi-year contending window. The league is a 12-team full PPR and is not tight end premium. Have made some moves to get Gibbs, Hawkinson, and Kupp this offseason. I'm looking for advice to help further shore up the team for contention. Pivoting off of Lance has been in mind, but maybe some trade ideas. Okay, here is what you do with trade ideas to sell Trey Lance, my friend. You take them, you put them in a bottle, you put the cap on, and then you throw it to the other side of the room, because you should never have those thoughts. You should never let those ideas enter in your brain. My man, keep Lance. All jokes aside, you're not going to get anything for him. Nobody likes Lance. I mean, if you're looking at where he's going right now in like underdog drafts, the man's going as like a QB3 this next season. I mean, going back to the year 2000, I'm sure you're all tired of hearing me say it by now. But I mean, if you're looking at quarterbacks to be drafted inside the top 3 picks of the NFL draft to start fewer than 40 NFL career games, you have Jamarcus Russell, the biggest bust in NFL draft history. You have RG3, who is derailed by injuries. And that's it. And they both started like 25 and 35 games. So if you don't think Trey Lance will be starting this next season, that assumption is Trey Lance is the biggest bust in NFL history. And that's what that would mean. Personally, I'm not going to go through and make that bet. If he's not starting for the 49ers, I think he'll be starting somewhere else. But got P. Ryan to help mitigate running back depth, but also looking for ideas there and potential sells that could help gain picks as I've moved all my 2024s. Thank you again, and keep it up this offseason. No, thank you so much, my man. So, yeah, we can see this right now. We have traded away all our 2024 first rounders. I mean, second round, third round, we traded away everything. So whenever we sell our 2024 first and we sell all the picks that go along with it, we are pot committed. We are a contending team, and we are all in this year. Now, at the same time, if we are looking at this roster, this is going to be one of the very few instances where I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, you know what? You shouldn't have moved your 2024 first. You made a mistake for reasons X, Y, and Z. Look at this team. It's monstrous. Quarterback, we have Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance. I personally believe Lance starts. I personally believe Trey Lance is a quarterback 2 at the minimum this next season. Going down to the bench, we have Brock Purdy. So if you think Brock Purdy's the starter in San Francisco, then Brock Purdy's the starter in San Francisco. Regardless, we have 2 starting quarterbacks here at minimum. I am hoping for your sake and my sake that Lance is the starter in San Francisco, because if we're wanting points from one of these guys, we're going to have to go with the guy that has rushing upside. But regardless, we are fine at quarterback. Going over to running back, currently sitting with Breece Hall in the starting lineup. We have Samaje Perine, but in reality, we have Jahmyr Gibbs there, right? We have Jahmyr Gibbs down there on the taxi squad. If we're going to look at the bench, one thing I do want to note is we don't have much depth. I mean, I would say Samaje Perine is probably our running back 3 here. So one thing I'd be a little bit hesitant with is if you really wanted to go through and if you really wanted to upgrade at quarterback 2, right? And we start making 2-for-1, 3-for-1 deals, selling our depth and trying to get that upgrade from Trey Lance. Well, if we're making those 2-for-1, 3-for-1 deals, we are going to put ourselves in a very difficult position, and that we already don't have a lot of depth at the running back position. We don't know what the availability will be for Breece Hall at the beginning of the year. I'm going to assume that he's good to go, but at the end of the day, it's just an assumption. With Jahmyr Gibbs, we don't know what the involvement will be from week 1. I'm going to assume he's involved week 1, and you can start him as a running back 2, but at the end of the day, it's just an assumption. So we definitely want to make sure that we're maintaining some of this depth here. Going over to wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. So this is why we can afford to go through and trade away our 2024 first. And we have arguably 4 of the top 5 wide receivers in fantasy this next season. Going down to the bench, similar to running back, you'll notice we really don't have much depth here at all. So going back to that potential Trey Lance deal where we'd be selling 2 assets and getting 1 in return, not necessarily something that I'm looking to do. And then tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Really happy to see that. But I mean, if we're going to go down to, actually, we have TJ Hawkinson. Hell yes. What's interesting is with this team, if this is not a tight end premium format, we're really never going to be wanting to start both of these tight end options. What I would most likely look to do, and I know this is obviously just base level analysis, but I would almost treat one of these tight ends as a 2024 first, if that makes sense. Because I don't think we have to worry about either of their values going anywhere. I think that we're going to be able to sit on these players until the beginning of the year. And then once we get to the season, we'll have a much better understanding of what Breece Hall's overall health is, and if we should be going through and if we should be trading for a running back. Because if Breece Hall, say, starts on the PUP, say we're all shocked, Breece Hall's not going to go, and we went through and we made a move trading TJ Hawkinson for some wide receiver depth, we're screwed. But vice versa. If we get to the beginning portion of the season and we're in training camp and we're hearing, man, you know what? Breece Hall is 100% good to go. Breece Hall has no limitations on him. And Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be an impact player week 1. And we see that through the first 3 weeks of the season. We have no worries at running back whatsoever. But then Cooper Kupp goes down to an injury. And we have a massive hole at wide receiver. Then we can go through and we can move TJ Hawkinson for a wide receiver at that point. So while I understand that maybe the initial reaction is, let's go through and let's bolster this team, we're looking to win now, let's go ahead and let's sell one of these tight ends, whether that's TJ Hawkinson or Mark Andrews, and let's go get a running back. Let's go get a wide receiver. In reality, I would much prefer just waiting to the season. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lance isn't the starter. Maybe you just have nothing at quarterback 2 that we can be excited with, and we want to go through and we want to trade a tight end for that position. I think it's almost better to treat that tight end very similar to what we were talking about with the 2024 first with the team before this. Keep it as flexibility to go through and plug whatever hole this roster may have when we get to the beginning of the season and when we have a much better idea of where we stand overall. I completely agree with what we've done with this team so far and going through and pushing to win in 2024. And we did trade away our 2024 first, which I'm fine with, specifically with this team, with how damn dominant we are. I mean, we literally have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in flex spots here. That's how crazy this roster is. But I think that should be it. Again, thank you so much, my man. I really hope we were able to help you out in some way. And as always, if there's anything that I can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. And I do want to point out this real quick, my friend, if you did not have a chance to see it, go to the announcements tab on the Discord and go make sure you fill out this form so I can get you a free Flock shirt, my friend. I'm going to be shipping these. Y'all have no idea how much time this is taking. We have 300 shirts to get out. Essentially, just give me your Flock Fantasy email address, the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, the size t-shirt that you would like, and then the address to ship the shirt to. Please, yeah, everybody make sure they go and do that. This is going to be a process that takes a couple of weeks, and it is going to be very time consuming. But I think that's all we have for this live stream. Again, thank y'all so much. Really do appreciate all of y'all. And we are going to be live on the other YouTube channel, going through and getting a live underdog draft going. So I can pull that up for y'all if y'all would like to hang out with us. I believe that live stream starts in 15 minutes. Let me grab this. Okay. Here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. I just spammed the link to that YouTube live stream if y'all want to go to our next live stream. And can y'all let me know real quick, and I know this is a little tangent, is there anybody in here that does not know that we have another YouTube channel? Please let me know in the live chat right now, because I know we obviously never talk about the other channels, but I would just be interested to know if there was anybody in the chat that doesn't realize that. John says he didn't. Okay. There's at least one person. Okay. Yeah. So I'll try to do a better job. Hopefully the YouTube algorithm can take care of that for us. But again, thank y'all so much. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day and really hope we get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.